Men often find themselves blindsided by a culture that hates authentic masculinity, and many have given in and succumbed to the ever-evolving culture and woke society. But not us. We are the ReMENant, faithful Catholic men from 3 different generations who reach through the radio to tackle current events that challenge our wills and empower the practice of the Catholic faith through thought-provoking discernment and prayer. So, if you're feeling overwhelmed and bombarded, it's time to turn your radio up and join us for The ReMENant on the Carolina Catholic Radio Network.
And hello everybody, and welcome to The ReMENant here on the Carolina Catholic Media Network. I am Bill Snyder. It's great to be with you, and as you can see if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, that I'm joined by my co-host Ray Haywood as always, and the host of the brand new Sensus Fidelium Hour, Steve Cunningham. So how are you, gentlemen? And thank you so much for joining me today here on The ReMENant.
Yes. Before we start, I'm just going to open us up in prayer. We'll begin with the Band of Brothers prayer. So in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, help us to turn to you in humility and through obedience and discipline, place you back into our hearts, our wills, our families, our faith communities, and ultimately our public square. Through the Holy Spirit, in the just model of St. Joseph, through the Sacred Heart of Jesus' name, we pray. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. So, Steve, what an awesome time we have to spend here in fellowship, especially because, I got to know you through doing preparation for the ReMENant. I was on my way one day to the men's rosary. Every first Thursday, we say a men's rosary out in the Piper Glen. And a bunch of us get together, like 20 of us. It's awesome. We take up space as Catholic men and we say a rosary. It's dynamite. And I was on the way. I was with my oldest son, Nicholas, in the car. And I was looking up one of the saints that we do for our episode. And Sensus Fidelium came up, your channel on YouTube. So what my son said to me is, Dad, that's Steve Cunningham. And I said, okay, who's Steve? He's right here in our diocese. I said, I can't tell you how many times I look up saints and I always go to that channel. So it was beautiful. And I reached out to you a couple of days later. And then we wound up meeting at the Catholic Men's Conference, which was awesome. And since then, I've been tapping at you every so often saying, Steve, you got to make a show here with us. We got this men's block on Saturdays, and you have the right content and the right heart to reach into our faith, this special diocese we have here. And it's just beautiful. So, Steve, why don't you tell us a little bit about the new Sensus Fidelium Hour that just aired for the first time this week?
I appreciate you guys having me on. It's just you guys, Jason, they approached me about if I wanted to do something, and knowing that I have, time to spare and I mean that sarcastically, really no time to spare. So, one day a week is totally okay. I just have to figure out how to work the clock. It's like I mentioned off airs. When I do my podcast, I don't pay attention to the clock except for afterwards when I'm editing, going, oh, that went for an hour. Whew. Or that went for 30 minutes or whatever it was. And so now having to do I call it the infernal clock. It's hard because then I have to, all right, I got a time when I'm putting in. And so that part was challenging, just as I didn't over talk and miss the stuff that I wanted to put in, which to me personally, I felt like I left a lot of points on the field. As the old saying in sports goes, is I didn't leave it all on the court. That I wanted to get some more in there, but that was good. I appreciate the guys at the channel for thinking to do this. I don't know. I guess they couldn't find anybody brighter than I at the time. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You got me for as long as they can put up with it.
That's absolutely, there's no truth in that. You're well known in our community. You're actually a parishioner over at St. Thomas, where I'm at. It's beautiful, even sharing the same faith community. You received the emails from the Fraternity of St. Joseph. I received your emails. If there is a way, because your emails are so informative, is there a way for people to sign up to receive your emails so that they can get the podcasts that you place each week? Is that something that you could share?
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple for that, because you go to sensusfidelium.com. That's the website with about 11,000 links on there, multiple languages: Spanish, Italian, French, English, and letter I put out every week, once a week. But to get the podcast, you go to Sensus Fidelium on YouTube and click the, they hear everyone say, click the subscribe, click the bell, all that jazz, so that you can get the updates whenever a new one comes out. Because I think on average 4 or 5 videos a day come out. I'm right now reading Garanger. If no one knows who Dom Garanger is, they say if he ever gets declared a saint, he will become the doctor of the liturgy, because he's wrote the liturgical year, and I'm reading that, which is a 15-volume set. To give you an idea, if you're watching this on YouTube, that's 8 volumes right there of Trady Box, the catechetical thing. Wow. So double that and expand it a little bit more. That's the liturgical year of Dom Garanger. It's incredible deep dive into the liturgical year, albeit if you're not understanding the traditional Mass calendar, it's all that, because in the 1970s, they destroyed the calendar to change it. So art gold like that, Alphonsus, Francis de Sales sermons of Francis de Sales. You look at the heroes of the Hall of Famers, as you would say, of sports fans. You look at it, oh yeah, their sermon for the 9th Sunday after Pentecost. What is that? It doesn't translate to days. So it's unfortunate that the calendar got destroyed like it is, but it's still there. And it's something that you can read, and you're not going to find it. No offense to Scott Hahn, if he's watching, you're not going to find anybody better than Garanger or the heroes of the day. But that was the thing, they try to kill the faith. And if you just read, that's why I'm trying to get back in the good, the true, the beautiful. And there's not a page I've read from Dom Prosper Garanger that was a waste of time. There's something always I learned from it, something I went, wow, like punch me in the face. I'll screenshot, send it to a priest or a friend of mine, goes, check this out. It's just things that you just never thought of in the sense too. It's just, you want beauty and gold, read the Hall of Famers like that. So stuff like that. I'll end up doing the Advent, and that'll be to complete the year, but then I have to redo it because YouTube doesn't like me reading from a screen. So I have to go through all the way to Pentecost again. So I get to do it 1.5 times, which I'm not going to do Holy Week, because Holy Week, I already did it. I'm not redoing it. It's 4 hours on Good Friday to read it. And you go through it, and it's just, it's gold. It goes from, Tenebrae all the way through the Matins, and it goes through the Mass, and then it goes through the night office for the next night. Just that volume for that week is that thick.
Wow.
Yeah. So, for our listeners, when I go through the parishes and the dioceses and I talk to different priests, I'm always in touch. I try to stay engaged with our faith community. This is why so many of our parish priests like your channel, because you go so deep. For anybody who's listening, this is going to be a great show to Sensus Fidelium out. You should definitely take the time out and to watch it. Go to the Carolina Catholic YouTube channel and hit videos, because that'll give you the most current ones, or you're able to go into his own section, which is going to be Sensus Fidelium out. But, I was trying to think of a way that I could bring out the beauty of what you do, because what you just explained is just a scratch at all the beauty that you share on your channel. That's why you have so many followers. And now what you're going to do here, and you're going to bring more beauty to our diocese, because people locally are going to hear this. I know that people all over the world know about your YouTube channel, but now we can bring you closer and into it won't be just our spiritual fathers that'll know your name. It'll be our parishioners as well. So it's really beautiful.
There's a line, act locally, think locally, that Brian McClanahan down in Georgia talks about, and I've been picking that up in secular ways of government, politics, everything. Yeah, act locally, think locally, but also Catholic-wise. If people want to evangelize Africa, evangelize your neighborhood. Yeah. Think locally, get that local thing going.
Amen, Steve. I really appreciate, especially the show, and I certainly want you to talk about what Sensus Fidelium means. I know you explained it in the first show, but I want you to explain it for our audience here listening. But I will just say, you're a straight shooter, and folks, what you get is exactly what you're seeing right now. Like, I'm privileged to edit the program, so what you're seeing is what you're getting. Like, I mean, and that's so beautiful. We need more people like that in our faith that have the passion, because you can see the passion coming through if you're watching on YouTube. Steve, you're so passionate about this, right? You're so you're so in love with the church and with the Lord that you just want people to come closer. And so I would love it, if you talk a little bit about too, why Sensus Fidelium. Of course, it's a larger apostolate than just the show. So, highlight that too for our listeners.
Well, that started with Sensus Fidelium means sense of the faithful, and it started out as Video Sancto because there was a website called Audio Sancto. Hopefully, you won't watch. This guy won't watch it. He's in Kansas, and he didn't like that I put up something to share with him, so he almost threatened me to change the name. So I picked Sensus Fidelium after that. I just Googled it. What was a great name? All right, that looks like good. And then research it, Sense of the Faithful, with Leo the 13th and a bunch of popes. You'll always see the Sensus Fidelium, the Sensus Fidelii. You'll see that all over. It's a sense of, it's like your spidey sense on Catholicism. So yeah, it started with, if you ever seen the movie Greater Glory, I'm a Knight of Columbus, and we were supposed to promote that movie. And I remember going with my brother and a friend of mine who we ended up getting back into church. Hopefully he still stayed in a state of grace before he died a couple of years, 2 years ago now. And he has us three and three people over the age of 3,000. I think they knew Moses. And that was it. And watching this movie, that was supposed to be the greatest movie on the Cristeros, and it was supposed to be the Catholics are promoting it, and 6 people were in this gigantic theater, and I was so embarrassed for us. So I remember a priest had a sermon on it and went on for 30 minutes about the history of the Cristeros. So I was like, all right, let me see if I can upload on YouTube somehow. I don't know how to do it, and maybe that will help attract people to the thing. And now, looking back, I'm going clueless. I had 5 people maybe subscribe because I had like some full Sheen things on there. I would find things and put it up because that was back in the day. You couldn't, shoot, that was 12 years ago. Yeah, 2011, 2012, something like this. And nothing was on there. So I'm going, all right, how do you do it? I put a terrible video. It took me about 6 beers to figure it out. I was calling people, how do you do something like this? Found this cheap thing online. It's free, called Windows Movie Maker. And yes, I still use that to this day. And people laugh at it. If they're a techie, they roll when they, what do you use? You use this kind of program? This kind of, no, it's Windows Movie Maker. People buy me a new computer every so often because I crash these because I goes through so many. And my first thing I do is, how do I find Windows Movie Maker? It's almost impossible to find. I got it down to an art now, thanks be to God. It's always a different version of it. But so 12, and then after that, I hear a sermon. I was, let me put that up. If I learn something out of it, maybe somebody else is going to learn something from it. And then another one, and then another one, and another one. And that was literally every day for a while. I was unemployed, looking for work at the time. So I was putting the videos together, reading. Anytime I heard every sermon they talked about, Father would recommend a book. So I would get that book and just dig through it. And usually it was all my San Alphonsus ones were my first ones, the Victory of the Martyrs, Preparation for Death, things like that. St. Francis of Sales, Introduction to About Life. And so if I heard Father talk about it, I did it. I was like, all right, he's the coach. I played basketball and baseball in college. So you listen to your coaches. So he's a coach. I'm listening to that. All right, I'm gonna do that. And then all of a sudden, 10 years later, I'm still putting one a day, maybe 4. I've gotten down quicker that I can put 4 or 5 a day, depending on the length of time. And now you get 4 or 5 videos per day being unlocked instead of just uploaded. I might upload 20 or 30 in a day or two, and then do podcasts. My wife was telling, you need to do some podcasting. I go, what am I going to do? Because I kept myself asking other people who did it, dude, you need to start talking about this. How about this? Here's a great topic. Why don't you do this? And then I went to the idea of, why don't I just do it? It's the whole GK line of anything we're doing is worth doing badly. Yeah, I screwed that up right there. So it's just one of those things. And I'm not I didn't go to a college. I tell people don't go to college, but I didn't go to college to get a theological degree. I didn't study in seminary. This is all from the road of hard knocks and literally just putting it to, when I played ball, I would, go to the gym to practice. Lights are out, sneak in somehow, stay in there for hours, play on Saturdays for 6 hours a day, forget to eat, do anything I could to get better in that thing. Same mindset, except in this. St. Thomas talks about when he said his sister asked him, how you be a saint? Will it? So is a lot of talk is cheap out there. Do you will it? Are you willing to put that time in there to read by when no one's watching? Because a lot of people like to say, hey, look at me. They put the ashes on their head and put Facebook photos. Hey, look at me. I went to Ash Wednesday. And it's like, it's all about me. I like the ones that I tell it on my news show a lot. Give me the people that are busting it without the coach seeing, running the stairs at night when the stadium's closed, when the stadium's live, everyone else is partying, doing everything, and you're the one putting in the time and effort, late night, early mornings, to get better, just a little bit better, because those other guys think they can already just walk on the field. They got that natural talent. We never had it, and I guess that was one of the things about my brother and I. We never had the natural talent. We had to work hard for it. We could get it done and do it, but we had to bust our butts to do it. So the same way, you got to do it. You got to put the calluses on your knees. You got to grind it out on the books, get some paper cuts from flipping pages, and have the humility that you don't know everything, and then just share it. When you find the gold, it's kind of selfish if you don't spread it. You see a good movie like Top Gun came out over the summer. Everyone, their brothers saw it, and then they told their friends, you got to go see it. Well, like the Dom Garnier brought up, I read something like that when they talks about like the Feast of St. Peter and Paul. He writes about the epistle commentary. And he goes, these people in this hut had more power than the entire army that held the Pope. And ... And sometimes you need to send an angel to wake up the Pope with a slap. You get some humor in there. But it's things like that. How many people are reading that? No, you're reading the blogs. You're reading all the negativity out there. So what's the negativity going to do for you? It drags you down, gets you angry, divides you, makes you bitter. Where's the joy? I bring up the bishop all the time, Théophane Bernard out in Vietnam. His slogan, the bishop, was 3 cheers for joy. And this was a guy at the time when everybody he sent as a missionary was getting killed. And he said 3 cheers for joy anyways. And, Phil Neary cut the side of his beard, walked around Rome with half a beard just to get laughs. Miguel Pro is, he's walking around. He's public enemy #1 to the Masonic government in Mexico. And he's going up to the guys dressed up. Hey, you guys find that pro guy yet? And then walk away. Things like that. If we would have that joy in the time, as one priest called, the world's nuts right now. I run a show called Clown Planet. It's literally clownish out there. But if we were the salt of the earth and joyful and things like that, people would come up to us asking, what's wrong with you? Why are you smiling? It's, this is burning up. This is going down. The, government all over the place is corrupt beyond corrupt. How are you smiling? Yeah, you're Catholic. You should wake up happy. So that's one of the things. After all these sermons, you learn. You're in the right spot. You're in the boat. The only person to blame at the end of the day in Judgment Day is yourself. That's extreme ownership. You saw the clip that I put on Jocko. I love that extreme ownership thing. Father Nolan back in Denver, he was the one that showed me that back out there and did some men's lectures on ownership. And it's hard when you say, like, if he would go into, you have a bad wife, you have a bad marriage, that's your fault. You asked her. you did this wrong, that's your fault. You didn't do this right. Everything. I try to make no excuses, because like in Jocko's videos, and I put it in my podcast, excuses are lies. So, even with the traditional movement, I'm a trad at heart. I go to the traditional mass as much as I can. I also go Byzantine a lot too. All right, the Pope did this. Good. What are we gonna do about it? I don't want to complain. I don't like complaining. I never was one to complain. All right, what are we gonna? Let's focus and attack. Let's get better. Stuff like this, and that's why I go with most of the people in our movement. Never went to military, probably. Never played ball, because if you play ball, you have the coach yelling at you, telling you to improve, wake up. Hey, Cunningham, it's $5 for a ticket if you're going to stand there and watch. I remember that was my 11th grade year in high school. I was running on the left wing. I remember it like this day, and he embarrassed me in front of the whole team on that. Next time down, I drained it from 34 feet. So I mean, it's one of those things. How do you take the adversity and go? You want to cower in the back and complain and gripe and call other people's names, or you like, I need to get better.
Mm. Awesome.
Wow.
Awesome. I don't know where we go.
So I want to just touch on. I watched your episode, your first episode, and it was beautiful. I mean, awesome.
I'm fueled by Bang, by the way. Energy drinks.
Energy drinks, baby. Yeah, I'm sure. But so what you showed to the viewers was clips on different things that are going on in our faith community all over the world from 2019 all the way through the current day. It was beautiful. And one of the things that jumped out to me was kind of like what you were saying about the young man who's the athlete who's running the steps when it's dark. Well, one of the things that you shared was of a young girl that was up in her room and she was praying. And she was praying for her parents and her father. And you said she was possibly doing it for years, but this one night her father came in and said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "I'm praying for you to go back to Mass." What a powerful thing that you shared to us. And you gave us that awareness that, you know, it's not always the parents that are praying for the children, but we have children that are praying for the parents as well. And I don't know how exactly you brought that into context, but for the people who are going to watch your episode, if it's anything like what it did for me, that'll jump out to them as well. But when you put that together, where did you come up with that? How did that touch you that you placed that for us?
So the idea behind that whole episode was because October's coming. I think this airs Saturday, so it'll be October 1st. So today's October 1st. Am I correct about that?
It aired yesterday.
Oh, it aired yesterday. Yeah. No, yours.
But we do it again on Saturday.
Okay.
During the men's block.
So I put mine out yesterday, which was the 27th, to air for October, because this guy, Father Matteo Crowley, he was the apostle of the Sacred Heart. He's got that book, and this book is Firebrand, which you got to read. His other book, everyone's probably seen, is Jesus, King of Love. Talks about the enthronement of the Sacred Heart. He was the one that was commanded by Pius X to promote it. Matteo actually asked him for permission, and Pius said, "No, I don't give you permission. I command you." And this is during the time when Delta wasn't flying around. He didn't have planes like you do today going in and flying all over the world. This guy went all around the world preaching multiple times to multiple other countries, multiple times. He was on like energy beyond energy. He thought, "Bang, that's me." I don't know what he was on, crack or something. Amazing guy. But the idea was, and it's in that starts out in this because it talks about the Catholic Action League that everyone's probably heard of, the Frassati, Blessed Frassati, Pier Giorgio Frassati. He was part of this group that would do all-night adoration in parishes, nocturnal adoration they call it, on Thursday nights, especially on First Fridays, the visual First Fridays, for reparation to the Sacred Heart. So many people were doing it. We're talking, packed houses, packed. Imagine your parish today when you walk in on Thursday night, 11, midnight, 1, 2, 3, 4, and men are in there packed. Like the story is Giorgio's like doing everything he can to keep his eyes open at 4 a.m. because he's praying and he's wanting sleep. Packed houses. Chicago is nicknamed, according to Matteo, the city of the Sacred Heart. If somebody, I was wondering if that was going to cause an accident when I said that, because nobody with two working brain cells thinking, "Oh, Chicago, yeah, I think Sacred Heart when I think of Chicago right now." No, you think of people getting shot every other day. So the idea is this challenge of Father Matteo, and everyone wanted to do more. You want to do more. You want to do it. I can't go to adoration. That's the kind of people they had back then. We want to do more. So he goes, "All right, let's do this thing at the home." So instead of being able to you can't get to the church, you can't get inside because there's so many people. Think about that as a problem. You can do it at home. So he used this image. If you don't know this, if you can't see this, is the Garcia Moreno Sacred Heart image. Just look it up on Google. Can't miss this, on the front of his Jesus King of Love book. Garcia Moreno was the Catholic president of Ecuador, who was prophesied by Our Lady of Good Success to come as a Catholic president 300 years prior to him being born. And he went to France, basically reverted his faith out there with Saint Sulpice, found out about the French, what happened to the French during the prophecy of Sister Mary Margaret Alacoque, how the kings rejected the idea of consecration, went back to Ecuador after he had somebody draw that image, and the rays are going down on Ecuador and the globe, consecrated Ecuador because he didn't want that to happen, didn't want that what happened to France happen to Ecuador, and used that as the banner to consecrate and promote the Sacred Heart. Mateo takes it as his band. People put that up in your room, spend an hour between the hours of 9 to 6, because that's when the worst sins of the day are usually happening. Bars, restaurants, nightclubs, you name it, are going on. And you're supposed to make reparation. It's almost like a tag team, WWF tag teams. So somebody, you can do it as a family. 9 to 10, somebody comes in, 10 o'clock, tag team. The next person comes in, 11 to 12, tag team. Or if you don't have enough people for a family, you get a group of guys together, 12 maybe. Say like Ray goes, all right, I'm going to take the 12 to 1. Bill says, I'm going to take the 1 to 2. Someone else says, I'm going to take the 11, 12, 2 to 3. Then you got a whole team going, all right, you might want to text them. You're up, get up, whatever, you break sleep, reparation, you sacrifice and sleep for it. Just one night a month. Well, he goes into it, goes, what about every day? And let's do October. Usually in traditional ways, it's going to be the Feast of the Sacred Heart is in the traditional calendar in October. So he was going with, and Pius XI's encyclical on reparation, every day during the month, busted to do penance and reparation to the Sacred Heart for conversions. As he mentions, the price has to be paid for souls. You just can't say, you know what, pray for my, hey, John, can you pray for somebody to convert? Yeah, sure, no problem. It's a single prayer. Not bad. It's not bad. You got to do more. Are we minimalist, or are we just, you do more? People do more watching TV than they do sometimes in prayer. I'm more excited that, I don't know, let's say SWAT's coming on. I'm just picking an idea, or The Voice is coming on. Oh man, in 2 weeks, The Voice, women all love that thing. Men, people watch it all the time. Do we act like that for prayer? Hey, October's coming. It's a time we're gonna see what kind of man we are. Let's go do it. So anyways, she picked up on this lady. I don't know how it's in Firebrand. I was trying to look it up real quick, see if I could find a page. And she was doing it for, days, months, whatever. And the family came home one night. Her dad looked up, saw the light on about 2, 3 in the morning. And he's like, well, maybe she's sick. Wonder what's going on. So knocked on the door, rap, rap, rap. She gets up, said, yeah, Father, what's okay? And what you guys doing? He goes, oh, I thought you were sick. And he goes, no, I'm just up here praying. Well, you praying for what? You and Mama. Come back to the church now. And if that was back in early 1900s, late 1800s, think about that. That's why I tied all those links in before. How many people stopped going to mass because all the obligations were taken away? Churches were closed. How do you break a habit? Was it 28 days to break a habit? 28 days to start a new habit. So for 28 days, you broke everyone's habit of going to mass. And for longer than 28 days, you got everyone's habit of staying in their PJs, either watching on the couch or watching on TV, which absolutely does absolutely nothing. And if you think I'm lying, just turn on the Food Network, watch somebody cook, and then say, I'm not hungry anymore. That worked that way. So we got everyone working on doing this and not promoting going back. Oh, fear being pounded in your heads instead of joy, hope. Hope got killed for 2 years. No one was talking about hope. No one was talking about joy. Nobody was talking about offering up for God's will or anything like that. It was all fear. We got to fear our neighbor, not love our neighbor. We got to fear our neighbor. That neighbor of ours is a biohazard. He's made an image of likeness of God. No, he's made an image of likeness of a killer. We're all killing somebody now. It's such a lie that we were brought to the last couple of years. So how do we get people coming back? And there's a lot of priests I know, thanks be to God, that know that this was a farce, and they're doing everything they can to try to get everyone back, because yes, obedience is a thing. And that's a lot of things that people on my side just don't get. They think that it's the American way of disobedience. We got to time. No. I can do it better. We're going to do this way. No. You can't tell me what to do. It's the whole non-servium idea in a sense. Pio, of all people, Pio should have been somebody to tell, you know what? Because somebody posted this, literally said, you should tell Rome to go pound sand. And you see Pio doing that? The guy had a stigmata, had all this mystical visions, things like that. If anybody did something like that, he would have been somebody to go, you know what, Rome? Go pound sand. I'm a little bit better than that. No, He took the hits, called it, maybe your mother could be abusive. Okay, still love your mother. Your father might be an alcoholic. You still love your father. Instead of, and someone put up the Freemason thing of using holy obedience against us. Okay, fine, let them. That doesn't mean we take the devil idea of disobedience. You still use the virtue, you still use the weapons that we have to fight back. You persevere. You brought up before, embrace the suck. You got to embrace, and then suffer in silence. So that was, brought that up too, because you can take a lot of military ideas. We are the church militant, I'm told, and use that to our way of thinking. All right, the whole good. All right, we lost the Trinity. I went, it was hard. It was hard. It hit me personally in that. Good. All right, what are we going to do about it? I told my wife, all right, we're either going to take a road trip or we're going to the Byzantine Mass. Still in union with the church. It was actually more trad than the trad because it's 4th century. It was beautiful. And it was cool because, they were adoring the shroud. And I'm going, dang. Because if you read Garanger, they adored the cross, which was the relic, is supposed to be a representative of the true cross. When you go down and get on your knees, you don't have somebody holding it. You get on your knees and reverence the cross, because the true cross is actually the only relic that you get on your knees to honor, because it has his blood in it, in the wood. So you don't genuflect to any other relic but the true cross. So during Good Friday, you get on your knees to adore and kiss the true cross. They do the shrine because why? They didn't find the cross yet. And that was cool just to see the historical part of it. I told my wife, that's why they're doing the shroud. Helena hasn't found the cross yet, so they're still doing the shroud. And that thing hasn't changed since the 4th century. That was pretty neat to me. I'm kind of geeky in that. So, all right, road trip or that. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to yell at the bishop. And I told a group of guys of mine, guys, he's in a rock and a hard place. You want him to be John Chrysostom? You want him to be Athanasius? Good. Okay, great. Be prepared. And a priest actually said this in a sermon on my channel. You want your bishop to be like that? You lady better be ready to sacrifice your bishop, because he will get kicked out. And what are you going to have to replace? Shupich Jr.? Raise your hand if you want that. And then what you got? This diocese has got some great stuff going on. You get Shupich Jr. coming in here or something like that, will wreck all that. So we just persevere, put our head, just keep pounding. I used to be a big Carolina Panther fan. I can't do it anymore. The trannies, the whole gay embracement they did last year and all that. I want to let my kid watch a game. I turn it on and they were playing the Falcons. I used to go to all the games. I mean, we had season tickets in the 90s. Always made the playoff games. I don't know who's on the team now. I can name you everybody. And then I turn on they were playing the Falcons, turn on and see the first thing that popped on was NFL is gay. Click. All right, we're done with that. Now I don't even miss. I forget there's a game on, because go to Mass or Divine Liturgy, come back, put the kids in bed. I turn on a priest that's Father Abernathy that's doing the Ladder of Divine Ascent by Climacus. I'll sit out back, listen to that. We'll go play. You have holy thoughts in your head the whole day. I don't miss it anymore. We got to get to that attitude, because like I said, it's going to get worse. So that's why I started off with those links. How bad is it? All right. You can put you in despair, or you can be good. Rise to the challenge. Are you one to rise to the challenge or cower back? A lot of people like cowering back. It's too scary. All right. I look at this. This is a great time to be out. I mean, back in the 50s, it was easy because Fulton Sheen was #1 on TV. The Catholic rise of population was going up. We're winning, baby. It's happy days are back again type deal. And then all of a sudden the bottom dropped out. And his father brings up in one of his things with Climacus, goes, maybe Rome's taking things away, kind of like a slap across the face to wake us up, like throwing cold water on you to wake you up a little bit. I see that a lot in there, because there's a lot of us that just still don't get it. It's all about me. It's what I want. My way, right away. That's why I put in on my channel, I told the guys, I said I did another show afterwards, and I put Megan Rapinoe in there because she had that line of, I deserve this, after she won. How's that mindset? That better not be our mindset. We don't deserve jack. And Job was holy Saint Job. The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. God took everything away just to see how he was going to react. He went on a dunghill and still didn't blaspheme the Lord. Hey, what do? We get just a smidge of adversity, And we're losing our minds. We get mad. We're protesting. I'm not going to protest. Don Roche brings that up. What's the Catholic way? Protest? No. Penance. You see that with the apparitions, Fatima, Lords. They all say penance. And we just, I brought it up in the thing. I don't know if I brought it up in our thing. You know how they found out if a priest was a priest leaving a prison? You ever heard that one before? How could they tell it wasn't somebody trying to break out? They would pull the cassock up to see if their knees had calluses on them.
Wow.
Think about, do we have more calluses on our knees or on our fingers texting and tweeting?
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, I want to say no one can ever say that I talk fast anymore.
Oh, I get that. Are you from New York, Boston, Jersey? No, I've only been to Yankee Stadium once, but
man, man, do you talk fast? I have to. I'm going to talk about the saint now, and I'm going to feel like I'm going slow.
I get excited. I need to turn it down a little. My bad.
No, dude, it's awesome, Steve. You got, like Bill said, you're so passionate, and it's beautiful, and it's going to help our diocese. And the show that you're producing is dynamite. And as you go further in it, it's going to just reach into more souls. That's what we're doing. We're building up a band of brothers. Just like that prayer in the beginning, all the things that you were saying was resonating, the band of brothers prayer. And what you were talking about locally, what was shared with me when I first started out after I wrote the book was the only thing that we can change is that our kitchen tables, our altars, and the communities that we touch. And that's exactly what you're sharing. That's the only thing we can touch. That's the only thing we can change. And if we put down all the negativity, boy, oh boy, we could really make some change. But all right, so the saint that we chose was Saint Ephrem the Syrian. So Saint Ephrem was born around the year 306 in the city of Nisibis, which is modern day Turkey. Jacob, the second bishop of Nisibis, appointed Saint Ephrem as a teacher. Saint Ephrem wrote a wide variety of hymns, poems, and sermons in verse, as well as prose exegesis. Boy, oh boy, Bill had to tell me how to say that word. But anyhow, these were works of practical theology, of efficacion of the church in troubled times. He composed hymns and wrote biblical commentaries as part of his educational office. In his hymns, he sometimes referred to himself as a herdsman, to his bishop as a shepherd, and to his community as the fold. So popular were his works that for centuries after his death, Christian authors wrote hundreds of contributing works in his name. He has been called the most significant of all the fathers of the Syriac-speaking church, and also counted as a venerable father in the Eastern Orthodox Church, kind of what you're going to now, Steve, right? He was declared a doctor of the Roman Catholic Church in 1920. Ephrem is also credited as the founder of the School of Nisibis, which in later centuries was the center of learning for the Church of the East. Now, Bill, I know you have some things to share on St. Ephrem.
Well, yeah. Before you start, correct, I'm not going Eastern Orthodox. Those are the schismatic guys. Byzantine is going to be, that's like Father Malak. He's part of the group. So just to clarify before anybody
So what's the Byzantine considered? What's the Byzantine considered then?
It's Eastern Rite, but when you say Eastern Orthodox, first thing people are going to think is like the Russians or Coptics, things like that.
Right. Yeah, it was just
clarify. Don't anybody lose it on that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Eastern Rite is different than Eastern Orthodox. But no, the reason we always think about choosing different saints for these episodes, and when Ray said who's the saint that we should pair up with Sensus Fidelium, well, the first thing I thought of that popped into my brain was, who guides the faithful, right? Like Sensus Fidelium, the sense of the faithful. Where do we, as faithful, get the sense from? And so I remember several years ago, one of my acquaintances challenged me to read St. Ephrem, and his hymns are certainly heady, folks. If you want to delve into hymns, he wrote into one of his most popular set of hymns that Ray was talking about was actually hymns against the heresies, which is crazy to think that there's actually songs and hymns that combat heresies of the church, So I actually read that for Lent one year. It was one of my Lenten promises and things to do. But the reason why I picked Saint Ephrem is because he is also the patron saint of spiritual directors and spiritual leaders. And so, whereas the sense of the faithful, where do we get our sense as faithful? Well, it's from our spiritual leaders and spiritual directors. And so that's the reason why I, chose St. Ephrem, because, hey, here is a guy who has, had a career of teaching, of really, guiding the faithful, and guiding the faithful through popular means as well, right? Like his hymns were popular. He was, using things that resonated with the faithful of the church. And so that's the reason why I chose him. He is a doctor of the church, which there are 33 doctors of the church that we highlight out that say we are these, saints are men and women who their writings are so profound and so deep that we should really give them special reverence and also special care to actually read them, and so those 33 doctors of the church, Saint Ephrem the Syrian is one of them, and that's the reason why I chose them. So Steve, you have any thoughts on Saint Ephrem? I know it's just kind of threw you probably, hey, here's Saint Ephrem, man. Figure it out.
That's a beautiful thing. It's actually 35 now, but if you go to TAN Books and get the 35 Doctors of the Church book, I can't remember who's the author. I remember reading that back in the day when it was 33. That's a great start to learn all who the doctors are, especially Ephrem, because most people don't know really. I mean, they know Therese. Her feast day is coming up soon. Saint Therese of the little child Jesus and of the Holy Face. That's something that most Therese fans don't know. That's her full name, the Holy Face of Jesus. Huge devotion to that, which I have quite a few of that in the on my shows, and I mentioned that in the challenge. Get an image, a relic, and I have links for that. I have 4 at the house. Big devotee of that now, and there's a podcaster going around saying, the women, there was no women doctors before back in 2. I'm like, who cares? I mean, St. Alphonsus called St. Teresa of Avila his spiritual mother. I mentioned, I'm reading John Climacus and going through the thing. Climacus is big time on you need a spiritual director. He's talking mostly to monks, but lay people definitely as well. St. Philip Neri said, if you take your own advice, you're taking your advice from a fool. So I text a priest all the time. What do you think about this? And he goes, yeah, just do that. He goes, I just want to make sure. I know me can, as Philip said, watch out for Philip today. He will backstab you. Yep. So we have no problem doing that. It's that whole arrogance. I can do it. Like, repeat him. I deserve this. So yeah, you always got to get a coach. So yeah, Ephrem, and I look at those guys as the Hall of Famers and the elite. Again, sports wise, go back to sports. Dad used to tell us, read or watch the big dog, watch the Hall of Famers. So I had a book on Larry Bird. And I remember reading, that was the first book I read, was the life of him and how he went about his day and worked out, what he thought, what was his mindset. Because he was always thinking, if someone else was shooting 100 shots, I'm going to shoot 101. Going to be one step ahead of the other guy. Same principle in this. It's been in the litany of humility too, and make me as holy as I can, as others make holier than them, as long as I as holy as I should. So you pray for other people to become, it's a holy challenge. I told Ray, hey, why don't you do this, Al? And then you want to beat that. Because there's saints that did that. I think it was Louis de Montfort in his book. He was talking to a friend of his, and they would challenge each other. I'm gonna love Mary more this month than John over here. And then John would see it and goes, I gotta do better than that. And it just builds you up. It's a team effort. We're all in this together idea. But that works in this. We are all in this together. You don't go to heaven alone. You don't go to hell alone.
Nope.
Definitely.
Awesome. Bill, you want to lead us with the ReMENant challenge?
Sure. So for this week, guys, if you're out there, I kind of have one twofold. First, I want you all to listen to Steve's brand new show. I think that's very, very important. Not really a ReMENant challenge, but tune in to Steve's new show, the Sensus Fidelium Hour. You can find it on YouTube through the Carolina Catholic Media Network page. You can also get it in the mobile app, so make sure that you do that. And then lastly, for my ReMENant challenge here, one of the things I would love to ask you to do is to pick a saint and do the deep dive. Steve likes to talk a lot about deep dive. I said I picked St. Ephrem one year for Lent, and I read it. But pick a saint. Can be any saint, and do the deep dive. We oftentimes just scratch at the surface of so many issues. Even here, Ray uses that term so much. We're just scratching here, right? We're just scratching here. But it's on you to do the deep dive during the week. Like, we could only be with you for a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever this show ends up being every week. We can only be with you so long. And it's not a deep dive. So find the saint. Find the aspect of the church. If you're not into saints, or not sure where to start, pick an aspect of the church liturgy, or another thing, and do a deep dive on it. Understand where the history comes from. I've been listening to Steve talk about that all episode, and I think it's so important. So take that deep dive, and I'll turn it over to you, Ray.
Yeah. So my ReMENant challenge is something that you're really going to have to understand after you watch Steve's first episode, because it's for us to learn how to suffer well. In the past, I've talked about when we get bumped, what's inside of us spills out. So the next time we get bumped, why don't we just make it a point to say, what is it? 3 cheers for joy? I think that's what Steve said. So next time we get bumped, and it doesn't take us long, we get bumped every day. Let's make a commitment that we just refer back to that 3 cheers for joy that Steve was sharing with us. And we embrace the suck. And you will understand that more after you watch Steve's program. But and also another thing I'd like to reference back to with what Steve was sharing with us is how important adoration is, and how we should have that tag team, and how we should have that group of men that we shoulder up to, that band of brothers we're trying to build, and actually encourage that. At St. Thomas, we're having an adoration chapel built, and it's going to be beautiful, and there's going to be opportunity for us to actually do this. So, Steve, maybe you and I could start that together over at St. Thomas, and, get that tag team going of the adoration chapel. It's going to be open 7 days a week. You know about it, right?
No, I didn't know about it, but it just takes one. That's all. You gotta get it started. Then you can go from there. I mean, John of Avila, St. John, another doctor of the church. One, blessed be God when bad times is better than 1,000 during good times. So we got that whole offer it up that you used to hear when you were a kid. It's that whole mindset. You got to change your mindset to do this. But yeah, the challenge I give is October, and I will be doing it myself. See if anywhere else that's part of the podcast. The only reason I did that podcast topic, October, every day between the hours of 9 to 6, pick an hour, get a Sacred Heart image or a statue, look at it, and do it. I have the booklet on the .com website, sensusfidelium.com. Buy it off Amazon. It's $1 or something like that. Get it at your house. I like the booklet myself, so you just keep with it, and I don't have to look at a screen. But you want to do a challenge? Do 31. Was it 31 days October? 30 days, half September, April, June, and November. 31. Yeah. Do 31 days of this. See how you are at the end, and keep doing at least once a month. Once a month, because again, the world is going to what in a handbasket, maybe a freight train. The price needs to be paid. So Catholics need to be salt of the earth again. Time to salten up.
Hey man,
what a great time in fellowship.
Yeah, it was. This was awesome. Time. This was such an amazing time. And folks, we do encourage you to connect with the ReMENant and all the different shows at the Carolina Catholic Media Network. Head right over to carolinacatholicmedia.org. It's where you can find all that good stuff. The other thing I want to remind you too is that we are on Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff, just as the ReMENant as well. So you can check us out by searching for the ReMENant at Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. But don't forget to email us as well. TheRemnantShow@gmail.com is our email if you want to know more about what we do. But until next time, may God bless you and your families.
Thank you for joining The Remnant today. For more information about us, email TheRemnantShow@gmail.com. That's the ReMenant show@gmail.com.